Hold on. Put on your crazy voice. Guinness Book of Records has just been broken. The record was 39.
What is up, YouTube? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Joe Wilson, and I make videos related to triathlon, whether swimming, biking, running. You're going to find all those cool things right here on this channel. And guys, do I have a fun surprise for you guys today? I got the Iron family. We got Billy and we got Sam, and I can't say their last names to save my soul. So, guys, thank you for being part of this little tiny channel that I call TriJoe TV. I wanted to bring you guys on because I found out through the grapevine and then indirectly or talked to you guys at a race and come to find out you guys are trying to do like 1 billion half Ironman distances in one single calendar year. How's that going?
Yeah, we're super excited. We're having a blast. We just finished our 41st since May. We started with Chattanooga in May of 2021, and we will get to finish in Chattanooga in this year. So that's 365 days of as many as you can get. So yeah, number 41, number 42 and 43 this coming weekend.
Wow. And so between now and Chattanooga, because that's like another 8 weeks or 7 weeks, I can't do the math. But do you have every single one lined up? What's the number going to be when you hit Chattanooga?
Assuming we don't have any rain or any cancellations, we're going to get really close to 50. It looks like 49.50 right now.
Oh, you know, we could just do a backyard half Ironman.
Hey, if you can find one Easter weekend, man, we cannot find one Easter weekend anywhere in the world. So hook us up.
Oh, I'll definitely have to look. So, okay. So just so I'm clear, you guys have set the world record for the number of half Ironman races in 365 days. Is that right? That's correct. Yeah. And how many beers did it take to come up with this?
Less than you think, man. I'm pretty good with terrible ideas, and so it was no problem at all to come out with a new terrible idea. You know, after I finished Ironman Florida, and I was looking, you know, for the ethereal knowledge to come down from the sky as you're crossing the finish line, and I didn't get that. Maybe that was the runner after me. But, you know, we were looking, I wanted to find, you know, what's that next challenge? What's the next hardest thing out there? And finishing well wasn't going to be it because I'm not fast. But yeah, I watched the Iron Cowboy documentary, and they talked about this record. And at the time it was a lot lower. Then we looked it up, and the old world record before we've set it was 24. And I said, man, that's one every other week. You know, we can do that. So I called Billy and said, hey, what if we set a world record? And he never said no. Actually, I don't know. He might have just muted his phone. He might have been screaming and just the phone was on mute, but I took that as a go and ran with it. You know, start looking at races and, you know, what can we do? And it was possible to do a lot more than 24 if you could do 2 in one weekend. So we started and we tried that out with Claremont and Miami. So the Claremont Intimidator and then the Miami Clash races are the same weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So, you know, we tried that, and I actually set a PR in Miami. So tapering, I guess, you know, is not something I need to be doing. Just do a race the day before. But yeah, after that we were rolling ahead. So you know, it's fun.
And Chattanooga was your first race?
Chattanooga was the first. We are officially counting. So yeah, I have been doing this for a little over, you know, doing half Ironman for a little over 10 years now. But you know, just slowly built into this. I remember Augusta was my very first half Ironman. Billy came to watch, and I crossed the finish line and said, one was enough. Let's never do this again. So then I had done one and Billy didn't. So it was a couple of years later, and he said, "Hey, let's go do Augusta." I mean, you can't let your brother challenge you to something, right? And back down from it. So we did Augusta, and now here we are 10 years later with this.
It's addicting. So, okay, between the two of you guys, who is the faster triathlete?
It is Billy, no question.
So Sam will beat me on the swim every time, every single time. Doesn't matter how fast the swim is, he'll beat me. I'll usually catch him on the bike, and a lot of times we finish the run together. Every once in a while, I'll get lucky and have a good day and beat him.
Come on now, I'm sure you guys got a tally. Billy this number, Sam this number, and there's like little lines going across at the top, somewhere on some chalkboard.
I have the one line, and then that was from when Billy broke his collarbone. I was so excited to be winning, and took it away.
Wait, hold on. So in the last 365 days, you broke your collarbone, or was that before?
No, I did in December at Clash Daytona. Had a bike wreck and broke my collarbone. And
you raced with a broken collarbone?
I finished that race. It was quite painful.
Yeah, he's leaving out of the story here. Let me see if I can. This is all facts, right? So I'm enhancing none of this, but he breaks his collarbone at mile 3 on the bike. And I don't, if you've ever had a broken collarbone, your arm is pretty much inoperable. And bicycles are generally designed for both arms, strangely enough. So he's on his bike, riding his bike with an arrow with a broken collarbone for 53 miles. And the downside is he can't get any nutrition or fluids, right? Because one arm's not working and the other is really required to hold the bike together. So for the entire bike ride, effectively, he had no fluids, no nutrition. And then he goes out and he does the run. And I don't find out that he's got a broken collarbone until I see him on the run. And I'm so upset with myself that I'm only 20 or 30 minutes in front of him. I was like, man, he broke his collarbone and I'm only beating him by that much, man. It was very upsetting. I had a tough day. I just want everybody to know how hard my day was.
Wow. And then so what, how'd you break your collarbone? You run over something?
Yeah, I hit a cone. That's pretty embarrassing, but I hit a traffic cone, and this was a solid traffic cone, man. This wasn't one of those weenie, you can run over it traffic cones. I mean, this thing, I hit it with my bike. It had like a 2-inch solid rubber lip on the bottom. I flipped over my bike. The cone stayed exactly in place. I'm sprawled out all over the ground. And I get my bike together and I put it up next to the cone, and the cone doesn't even move when I lean my bike up against it. I think it must have been filled with concrete or something. I don't know.
Hey, let me tell you, that brain fog in the middle of a race, I have been really close to cones. I've ridden past people that lay down next to cones, and I'm like, yeah, those cones they'll bite you. So
yeah, man.
Don't think you're the only person, that's for sure. So this will be almost 50 by the time you guys hit Chattanooga. We'll just call it 50. Favorite race out of those 50?
Favorite race is always the one that we're doing, right? I mean, the favorite swim course by far, Augusta, because especially the 2021 version of Augusta, because that river was flowing fast. Favorite bike course is St. Pölten, Austria. Highly recommend that race to anyone that ever wants spectacular views from a race course, a bike race course. And the run, it depends on the day. We like Maple Valley. I think Sam's favorite race overall is probably Chattanooga, maybe.
Favorite in the U.S. is absolutely Chattanooga.
Oh, God.
Yeah. We love the international races because, the different people. You meet people all over the world, and that's really what makes the races special, is meeting the people, not the actual race courses themselves, but the people that we meet.
Yeah. It makes a big difference. I love this, sport. I've met tons of people, just doing this sport. So I completely hear that. How about you, Billy? Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Chattanooga is easily my favorite in the U.S. I love that course. That bike is just a blast, and then the run has so many variables. The Australia race that we just did with Melbourne was a lot of fun. That's among my new favorites. St. Polton was gorgeous, but that swim was brutally cold. Man, I jumped in and I just about quit. I had taken my goggles off and was trying to figure out, Billy's in front of me, man. How do I tell him that I'm not going to make it? But yeah, it was. We go up there for that race, and there are 2 people in the entire race in sleeveless wetsuits, and it's the 2 of us. Everybody else has, some of them have hats on and boots, and I was like, man, this is not going to be a good day. Sure enough. But yeah, come to finish that race, it was gorgeous. I loved it. There are so many things. We were talking about this recently. It's tough to separate the race from the destination. So there are races that Egypt, for example, was incredible because we were in Egypt. And that race, they paved the interstate just for us. It was a 6-lane divided highway. It was the interstate. They paved 28 miles out, and then there was our cut through, and then 28 miles back. But there's no view. There was no you're in the desert. But we were fighting headwinds the whole time. So it was 2.5 hours out for me and 45 minutes back. I could barely pedal on the way home and maintain 31 miles an hour. And I'm just not that biker. Yeah, it was getting after it. So they had a fair amount of DNFs after that. But yeah, every race has its own little quirks. And each of them, it's always fun to keep exploring. So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. On the other side of that, what was your least favorite race?
I think we can absolutely agree on this one, and it was Flagstaff, Arizona. And part of that was probably our fault, but I think we both hated that race. It was a double weekend. We had raced in Seattle on Saturday. We boarded a plane, got into Phoenix, flew to Phoenix, Arizona, hopped in a rental car, drove, and this is the middle of the night. I think we got into Phoenix around midnight. And so we're driving and did not realize that we're driving uphill the entire time. Drove to Flagstaff, found a truck stop where we could take a shower the next day. And so we just stayed in the parking lot, got an hour nap, and then headed on to the race. Got there at 5-ish in the morning, put our bikes together and started that race. And we had done Boulder the week before or 2 weeks before or something like that. And we got into Boulder on like Wednesday. We were like, yeah, we need to get acclimated to the elevation. It was, whatever it was, 5,000, 5,500 feet, something like that. Flagstaff, we found out the morning of the race is at 7,000 feet. And, the roads were crap. The run, they sent you up this great big hill just to make you mad. It was just a tough day.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I'm with him. That is definitely, I think it's tied. Blue Ridge for me is also up there. I to this day, I hate that race. But the hardest race that we've done is easily Lanzarote. It's in the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa, so technically Spain. And that's an Ironman race. But that's the absolute hardest race, and it's not our least favorite. So it's interesting to me that it's not difficulty. that drives the race, because Lance Rote, anytime you're racing on an island, you're going to have wind to deal with. And of course, islands all have terrible roads. So, I have not figured out whether that's the race course that we, hate, or just the way that the races are set up. It's, interesting. It's a tough, it's fun to hate on races as we go along.
So next question of mine is, you're doing basically 50 races in 365 days. When do you train?
There's no training. It's all recovery. So that's kind of our plan throughout the week. First of all, we have to get back and get some stuff accomplished at home, some work and just regular home stuff. But during the week, one bike, one run, one swim, all recovery, and then you end up back on the races on the weekend. So I mean, I guess the races themselves are the training. We have gotten faster. We both set several PRs, but we're still not. We're still middle of the pack, guys. We're not at the front ever, unless we're in Europe, and then we're at the back.
It's a good question. Part of the question is, you train in getting ready for this. You've got to come into this in peak performance. And in my mind, we were going to be able to, and then somewhere along the way, I decided I was going to be able to train get better while we were racing. And a lot of it's just the head. More of triathlon is in between your two ears than anything else that's happening out there. And so we are racing with broken collarbones or, hurt tendons, so you're not going to have your best race when you do that. But, for us, it's just about finishing. So, it's just the mentality to get across the finish line. That's all it takes, really.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you about that. Like, have you seen a progression of like, okay, this is getting easier, or maybe we're racing harder races, or from the beginning to now? I mean, have you noticed an improvement in like health, speed, whatever you want to measure, from like this time last year when you guys started out on the endeavor?
I'll answer that. I mean, we have gotten a lot better at what we pack and the travel portion of this endeavor, and that's really probably the biggest challenge. I mean, the races themselves, I mean, they're all basically the same distance. I mean, you may have a little bit harder bike or a little bit harder swim or a little bit harder run on some of the races and the others, but really the travel is the indicator of how you're going to do, because I mean, we're getting better at planning, even though we still do tons of last minute stuff, but better at packing and better at taking our bikes apart and getting on the plane, that kind of stuff. So definitely improvement. I mean, we have improved, somewhat in our times and stuff like that. But again, we're not trying. I mean, these are all basically workouts every weekend. We're not really trying to improve. We're just trying to finish.
I joked with my coach. She was asking, what I wanted to do after this, and my answer was I wanted to learn how to race again. You have to have the mentality of it's not about today, it's about the next race for this. And so you want to go out there and you see people and you want to pass them. But that's not what's in the race plan. So I'd say part of it is we've gotten better about trying to follow our race plan. You've got your nutrition, making sure that you stay on that, and even if it doesn't seem right or whatever, you've got a plan, and trying to stick to the plan is absolutely, we've gotten lots better at that. I'll say after St. Polton, I had a really hard time with swims, just panicking, getting in the water. Just that one experience was so tough that it took me, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 races. I mean, which is a couple of months, but to get back to where I started on my mentality of getting in the water. And it's taken, I still on a crowded race, there's a moment of, you got to get your head back right. So taking the couple of seconds while you're swimming, and this is okay, we're going to be fine. Because on a crowded race, there's always bumping, nudging. I got a headlock on this last race. The dude was trying to butterfly or something, and he was coming down as I was going up. But just mentally, it's all about getting out of your head and getting into the race.
And speaking of nutrition, I mean, you guys have like mastered this, right? This process right now, correct? I mean, tell me what you do for nutrition now, because you've got a lot of experience on this. And what have you learned as far as racing or, competing in these triathlons over the last 10, 11 months?
Salt is awesome. I mean, so that is one thing that we've probably in race nutrition, like the nutrition that you have in the race is probably our most improved aspect of racing. I mean, I guess we've gotten better at transition and what we bring into transition and how we set up our bikes and that kind of stuff. But really the biggest improvement probably is the nutrition. So for me, I use Cliff Blocks, goo gels, and then my go-to is the Slayer X diesel. That gets me my extra salt. I have that on the bike. But the number of calories, exactly what you need, and the amount of salt. I mean, and depending on the weather too. I mean, sometimes you have an overcast race and you won't need as much salt, but salt. Did I mention that salt was really important?
It's funny. So before we started, they have the salt sweat test out there. Gatorade now has one that I still haven't tried, but it was a lot cheaper. So I tried the more expensive version. And on a 70-degree day, so not a hot day, I lose on the run 1.5 teaspoons of salt per hour. And another teaspoon on the bike. So it's just, knowing that number is hugely helpful for your nutrition. But, you just don't think about that you're losing that much over the course of, 2-3 hours on the bike. And then, a couple hours on the run. It's a huge deficit to work yourself out of. And, you're cramping at the end, you're having to push hard, whatever it is. And, dialing in that nutrition early makes all the difference in the world. If you feel like your race is suffering, the first place you need to look is your nutrition. That's a huge lesson that, us as amateur athletes don't really get. We go and we do a couple races per year and, I did great on this one. I didn't do on this one. What happened? And when you really drill down into it, I mean, of course, the race course has a lot to do with it. But if you're looking for that PR, dialing in nutrition is beyond critical.
Nice. And as far as after the race, give me all the tips and tricks you guys use, because we're about the same age here, to recover, because you guys got to know a little bit more than I do about recovery. I mean, how does it feel to walk through the airport? I mean, are you walking like a 10-man after the race is over?
Sometimes we're running through the airport trying to make our flight, depending on where we are. But yeah, I mean, so recovery. So we have the Air Relax Normatec, boots or whatever. We're using the Air Relax, the boots that you put on, the compression. They pump up and squeeze your legs. Also the Theragun, to hit your muscles or whatever helps us out a lot. But I mean, the thing that helps the most is going out and doing another activity, whether it's just walking around or doing a run or a bike. I mean, for me, usually the trainer bike ride after a race is what gets out all of the soreness. But I mean, shoot, this last race in Argentina, we did the race and then we were going to try to find some Argentine barbecue. And we ended up walking, I don't know, what was it that night? Probably 4 or 5 miles around looking for different, barbecue places in Argentina to eat. And shoot, the next day I was good to go because we had worked out all the stiffness on that walk.
And didn't get barbecue, to be fair.
No, we did not. No, all that walking we did and still didn't get any barbecue.
Real quick, we're running out of time, guys, but I wanted to ask you, any kind of crazy, like you guys almost got arrested, somebody almost shot at you, like in a different country story, you got mistaken for somebody else, any kind of crazy story like that?
So you're talking about a crazy travel story as opposed to a crazy race story. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a crazy travel story and Sam can tell you our crazy race story. But we're in, where are we? Dubai. And we're trying to make a flight. And the way that these airports are set up, so if you fly through Atlanta a lot, that has now become an awesome airport just because of the transportation and the way that they have it set up. If you fly through Atlanta and you hate it, then just go to some of these other airports and these international airports, and you love it. Anyway, we come into Dubai and we have to go through customs, and we're just flying through Dubai to get to Oman. You have to go through customs. We have plenty of time, like 2.5 hours. You have to get through customs, and then we get out and you get all your luggage, and then you have to recheck it to get on the flight to Oman. Well, we weren't in the same terminal. No big deal. There's a shuttle bus that goes there. Well, the shuttle bus stops running at midnight, and this is 12:15 or 12:30. They were coming through. So now you have to find a taxi to be able to take you to the other terminal. And so we're like, all right, whatever. I mean, it can't be that far. Well, we get in this, like bus taxi thing or whatever. It takes us like 30 minutes to get to the next terminal. I mean, he like went all the way around the city to be able to get to the thing. And we Googled or we did the maps. He went the right way. So we get there and we're going through the airport and we get to the check-in line and we get there and they're like, oh, well, this flight's already closed. You can't board this flight yet. And we're like, what? Because the next flight is not like until the next afternoon, and we needed to check into the race. I mean, this was going to be a problem if we couldn't get on this flight. And so this guy starts scurrying around, and I don't know what buttons he pushed, and I don't know who he called, but he finally said we can get on the flight. And so it was this mad rush for us to get our bikes checked in, and just pray that our bikes made it onto the plane. And get all our luggage. And so that was probably as far as travel goes, that was the most kind of nerve-wracking, because if we didn't make that flight, we were likely not going to be able to race in that race. So that was kind of nerve-wracking for us.
Yeah.
To make that story better, he asked for our visa. Here's our health certificate. We have that. No visa. Crap.
Okay, so guys, we just got a few quick more moments. I want to throw some quick questions at you guys. How many miles have you flown in the last 365 days? You guys tracking that?
Yeah, we're getting close to 200,000.
It is, as of this weekend, I've been on 214 airplanes.
Wow. Favorite airline?
Delta.
Least favorite?
Air France. I don't know. Fly Dubai.
Yeah. The bike was more expensive than the seat.
Yeah, my ticket to get to Dubai from Oman was $125, but it cost me $220 to get my bike there.
Wow. Most expensive flight?
Australia.
Yeah. Shortest distance from where you guys are to a race.
Augusta.
Augusta.
For me, it was Augusta. Yeah.
What's Billy's birthday?
January the 8th.
What's Sam's birthday?
November the 10th.
No, you guys are supposed to answer opposite.
I gotcha.
Note that January the 8th is also Elvis's birthday. So, I mean, the king.
Well, guys, I want to wrap it up real quick. I just want to say thank you so much. I had like a ton of questions. You guys answered a lot of those. This is pretty exciting. I mean, I know you guys are pretty excited about what you've done. I mean, huge accomplishment. Hats off to you. I can't wait to see you guys cross the finish line at Chattanooga.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and I will.
Are you going to be there? Are you going to do that race?
Oh, I would not miss it for the world. I've done that race every year except for the first one.
Okay, so after you finish, and you can probably go back to the hotel and take a shower and probably even get a little bit of a nap. After you get the nap, then you can come back and watch us finish.
Hey! No matter what, I've never raced with a broken collarbone. So. All right. I fell on my bicycle one time, bruised my ribs, and I called somebody to come pick me up. And all I did was just wipe out. So hats off to you guys. But anyway, thanks, guys. It was a ton of fun. Can't wait to see you guys in Chattanooga. Good luck this weekend or next weekend. Where are you racing again?
This weekend is Ocala and Texas.
Nice. All right. Well, stay away from the Florida man in Ocala and watch out for those F3000s in Texas. Hey, good luck.
Thanks so much, Joe. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you, Joe.
Have a good one. All right. Bye.